Over a decade ago, BioWare jumped into a struggling RPG market to launch the series many feel is the pinnacle of the genre, Baldur's Gate. It's no surprise then that BioWare tried to capitalize on that nostalgia by calling their newest game, Dragon Age Origins, the spiritual successor to Baldur's Gate 2. And you know what? As someone who played and replayed those games a lot over the years, I'm happy to report that comparison is completely accurate. Dragon Age's challenging party-based gameplay and intriguing dark fantasy storytelling is so decidedly old school that gamers unfamiliar with its pedigree might incorrectly see new ideas from a genre that has moved decidedly in the opposite direction with more accessible games. The real change in Dragon Age comes from the move away from the Dungeons & Dragons rule set and to a new in-house universe. While it may not be as entirely original a world as BioWare intended, it is certainly fleshed out enough to provide a workable backdrop for Dragon Age's excellent story. The basics of the plot are that you're a newly minted Grey Warden, part of a warrior caste entrusted with keeping the impended Darkspawn threat at bay. The game comes with several different origin stories for your main character to begin with, and while they don't drastically alter the main game, your origin in combination with the different dialogue choices will make new playthroughs feel decidedly unique. That's in part because the meat of the story is carried on the back of the game's amazing character interactions. Depending upon who, or even what combination of characters you have in your party at any one time, your dialogue trees and plot points will branch out into drastically different scenarios. Aside from these large branches, Dragon Age also offers the best random party banter I've yet to see in any game.
Our Lehman once bought me a miniature Gollum doll here, when I was young. Really young.
Like previous BioWare games, there's also the chance for various romantic relationships between characters. But in truth, I found the virtual sex in Dragon Age to be just as awkward as, well, virtual sex in just about any video game.
I'm too old for this.
Outside of the story, it's the combat in Dragon Age where the game feels the most at home in its CRPG roots. This is a classic pause and command tactical RPG and comes with all the difficulty and micromanagement you'd expect from the older games in this genre. Along the way, you'll level up your characters and pick spells and skills that will gradually make your party more powerful, if not more effective, against the sometimes dozens of enemies the game likes to throw at you. In general, I felt the skill and spell system brought a needed simplification from D&D games, which often try to cater to the pen and paper following instead of making it work in a video game format. The use of these spells and attributes during combat are also simplified to something that feels oddly similar to, believe it or not, World of Warcraft. Instead of needing to rest and memorize spells, for example, all your actions rely on cooldown cues, along with mana and energy bars. This makes the game's many boss fights feel very similar to the 5-man dungeons of WoW, where your biggest need for strategy is not brute force tactics, but mana management, potion chugging, and the ability to watch for scripted events. All in all, this game is littered with thrilling encounters. To its credit, I always felt like I made it out of each succeeding battle, just barely alive. To help make things easier in those battles, Dragon Age comes with a helpful tactics window where you can auto-assign event scenarios to your individual party members. Say, attack the weakest enemy first. Even on the normal setting, Dragon Age can be a brutal game that will force you to plan your attacks carefully between up to 4 party members. You often need to set up various spell combos, like shield bashing frozen characters or setting fire to grease traps to get through the more difficult encounters. While a lot of the combo systems should seem logical to most, if you're new to this kind of game, I'd recommend playing on the easy setting during your first playthrough. It's important to note that Dragon Age is not only a difficult game, but an extremely long one. My first character, Mordecai the Mage, completed his journey in just over 50 hours of game time. I did skip a good portion of the game's side quests, only completing quests that happen to be on the way through the game's main story arc.
You turn your back on me? This is not over, Warden.
Differences between the console versions of the game and its PC counterpart lie mostly in the interface. The PC version sports the classic hotbar and tactical perspective, while the console versions opt for a Mass Effect-style radial menu and over-the-shoulder camera. If you've got the option between the two, I'd go with the PC version, if only because the radio menu, while perfectly capable, isn't as elegant and utilitarian as the classic PC layout. The game also looks noticeably better on the PC, but both games feature great spell effects and environments.
Maker's breath. Look at it all.
In the end, Dragon Age is exactly what you'd expect from the makers of Baldur's Gate. While you could rightfully fault the game for its lack of innovation, it is likely that adherence to old-fashioned gameplay that will be most welcomed by legions of nostalgic RPG gamers. Regardless, the overall quality of the game and its story is the reason this is an experience gamers should not miss out on.
I think we finally got a bit of entertainment here, lads.